Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about MCP or Model Context Protocol. We are going to start trying to deploy Model Context Protocol in my local server and then use it in my local Open WebUI which is running and see how that works. So I made a video on what is Model Context Protocol. It's a terrible video, I'm sorry, but hopefully it helps. If not, you can look at any other video on YouTube or have your own understanding. I also made a video on how to get Open WebUI set up. It's a whole playlist, so you can choose which videos you want to watch. But right now I have this service which just gets both of them running. And so I have my Open WebUI running and my Olama running. Let me go and check if my Open WebUI is running first of all. So it's running on 8080. So let me open that. Excellent. So you can see that I have my Gemini set up, and there's another video I made to see how you can set up your own Gemini to set up with your cloud. And then I have my local running as well. This is my local running, and so basically Open WebUI is set up. Now let me go back and open my MCP. So you can see I have already done this before, so I'm trying to do this again. So you want to make sure that you have the necessary Node.js and npm ready, so you can run this command. Let me just run it again to make sure that everything is good. I've already run this, just FYI, so not that you might get a different error or something like that. Okay, so that's taking care of that. And then of course you want UV. That's kind of what's recommended. So UV kind of helps you run it better when you're running Python. It makes it easier. That's how the library is set up in a way. You can use your own Python values as well, but just letting you know. Excellent. So everything is installed. Now, these are things which you need for setting up in Open WebUI. But for now, let me just run the server. So to start an MCP server, you need to know about the fast MCP library. That's one of the libraries which we use in Python to kind of get things running. Now, what it does, it just is basically creating an MCP server. And in this MCP server, I'm just creating two very simple things. I'm adding two numbers and I'm reversing a string. And then this server is running. That's all this is doing. So when I have this MCP server running, I'll have these two things ready. So just to get started, this is the command. I'm gonna host it on port 8000. Okay, so there you go. It's running now and is running on 8000. And if I want to see something, now if you do just 8000, it may not work. It will just show not found because there's no location for that. But if I see docs, I'll see my two functions showing up. Now if I add something to this quickly, I go to server.py and I go mcp.tool, get current time, as long as it works, right? So now I'm gonna kill this and run this again. And let me refresh this. There you go, get current time. So you have those three things running. Now, how do we make it run in Open WebUI? So if you go to Open WebUI, and these things may change, you go to the admin panel, and in admin panel, there is settings. Now you want to go to integrations. Now this integration will have managed tool servers and you want to add that. So you can see I have two. I'll tell you about this one a little later, but let me look at MCP server right now. So you can see there's MCP server. You can create a new one. Everything will be blank. So you can put those values, but right now I have already done that. So some of them, when I was trying to debug this, I tried the localhost version. I tried the host.internal.docker because I'm running it in a Docker. Both of them didn't work. So how does this work? You have to use the IP where WSL is kind of hosted or WSL is running. And how do you get that? You get that through this command. There you go. So IP address show at 0. So now if I just want to show this, you can see which IP it is running on. So that's the IP you need. And then when you set it, you can check the connection. It will show connection failed. Oh, interesting. So this happened because I incorrectly added port as 8001 instead of 8000. Okay, HTTP 8000. So now it works. Now I'm going to save this and go back to new chat. I'll select this and then ask, then you add two numbers. So I want to change this back to llama 343 and 545. And I want to select my MCP tool. Let's see if it figures that out. And my llama is very slow, so this is going to take a while. Okay, so you can see that it added those numbers by itself, and then it's saying that it found the add numbers post as well to remember it. So it did do it, but not the best way. So let me try reversing a string. You can see that it's using this source as a request. Now, if I ask something which is not in that list, it will try to create it itself. So if I say, help me multiply two numbers, 34 and 12. So you see that it did multiply it, but it did not use the knowledge of the tool, which is nice. So this is one way. So what we did was we created our own server and we add our own functions. Now, obviously, these are very simple functions, but you can also add complicated functions. But most of the time, you may not need to do that. Why? Because MCP has a whole library. So if you see here, if you see these categories, there's a whole MCP market which you can access. And one of those things I was just testing out was this server file system. So what you can do is you can find that service and run that as well. So if I just do this, now 8000 won't work because I'm already using 8000. So I can use 8001 just to have it in a different file system ready. Excellent, excellent. Now if I go back, fast forwarding to see just changing the port number and then using the file system. So let's see. You can also see the other one here. Let's see what all it has. You can see read the files, write files. So this is an existing library of MCP which does all that. Now let's see if the chat responded. Oh, excellent. So now it's able to see it. You can see MCP readme server.py weather randomizer.py. Now, when I ran that code earlier, this is using, you can see it's using the current folder. The current folder is this one. It has 3 files, and that's exactly what it did. So similarly, you can use any of these and you can kind of start utilizing existing tools. Obviously, they're third party, so you don't know how they're going to access your data. So you have to be careful about that. But this is a very simple method. You have your MCP running locally. You can create your own MCP server and have functions running, and then you can see all this set up by using just with the Open WebUI. Let me know what you think. I hope that helps in setting your first MCP server or Open WebUI or connecting both of them. Let me know what you want to see next. Thank you so much.